Não inviabilize.
It's my favorite.
Yes, I like. And there is one called Chá com Rapadura. It's a group of girls that live in UK,
Mm,
but they are from Ceará. It's so fun.
Very nice. I'm gonna search for it. It's very nice. What about you, Arley?
Hi everyone, my name is Warley. I'm 24 years old. I live in Recife, Pernambuco. I work as a front-end developer and also I'm a Spanish host here on Talk and Talk. And now I'm studying and improving my English too. That's all.
Very nice, very nice. Thanks, Warley. And Fernando.
Hello, everyone. I am 34 years old. I live in Brasilia. I work as an administrative assistant. And in my free time, I like to study something new, to watch something new, listen to music. I love music. I'm listening to music all the time, basically, and pop art in general. And I always, you were talking about podcast. I always wash my dishes listening to a podcast. And actually, that one, não invibiali. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to say that. Não
Inviabilize.
yeah, it's difficult. It's in Portuguese, but it's very difficult to say. And you recommend me that one, right, Vicky? And
Yeah.
and I listened to it. To something about limão, lemons.
Picolé de limão, it's the
Yeah,
name of the.
yeah, that one. I like it. Very nice.
Yeah, it's the best. So guys, as you all know me, my name is Victoria. I've been a host here on TNT since September of 2022. And I have my own business, but I also work in an IT company. And I always work listening to podcasts. And I've been thinking that I haven't listening so much music because I only listen podcasts these days. I work home office, so I love to work having some story or some news just playing. And for me, it's better to concentrate. I don't know how that works, but I concentrate better and I have fun. And let me see what else. I also have a cute dog and I live in Floripa. So I guess that's it, guys. One more thing that I have to say to you, just to remember that this is not a class. We're here to have fun and improve our abilities and confidence speaking English. So don't worry to make any mistakes. There is no such thing as perfect English. That being said, I'm gonna send you the questions, guys, and we're going to start. Just a sec. Okay. Did everybody receive? Okay. So question number one, we already introduced ourselves, so let me know. Fernando, do you have or do you want to have kids?
Yes, I have. I have a 15-year-old boy. Uh, I became a father very, very early with 18, when I was 18. And I do intend to have other kid, but I'm not sure, 100% sure about it. Just depends on life, you know. But it is a possibility because I really like it and I miss having a baby. Yeah, that's it.
Very nice. What about you, Arley?
Uh, no, I don't have kids yet because I'm 24, so I'm just a teenager. But yeah, I want to have kids.
Yeah, that's it. So Fernando had a a kid when he was a baby, because
Yeah.
right? So what about you, Monique?
Um, Now I don't want to have a kid because I know that for women it's so difficult to have a child. It's not easy, because you have to be careful about this new life and about you, and there are so many hormones that are making some jokes with you. It's not easy. And sometimes the guys just go out and leave you with the kid, and it's not a easy life. So I don't know if I want to have a kid.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's totally different from you deciding to be a mother than the guy deciding to be a father, because you have to, I don't know the word in English, but gerar a child in your uterus. It's very hard. And also a mother, I don't know, the responsibilities tend to lean more on the mother because of so many reasons. So it's totally different. As for me, I guess I don't want to have kids. In my life, I don't like to say things like always or never, because it's never is a long time. I don't know, because I've changed a lot during my life, but ever since I think about this, I never wanted to have kids, but I don't know that in the future, maybe I want to. I don't know, it's an open possibility, but today I know that I wouldn't like. Um, Monique, how old are you and how was your relationship with technology in your childhood?
So I'm 32, and in my childhood, I usually watched TV or listened to radio or something like that. We didn't have cell phones or something like that. Even to use phones, the telefones fixos, it was very hard because it was very expensive in the beginning. And when the smartphones or cell phones started to become more common, that was expensive also. So, but I think that was I liked my childhood because I think I enjoyed more. I had more possibilities.
Yeah, I guess smartphones in general, they have always been very expensive.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's a bit crazier because there are these latest smartphones like iPhones that they are the price of a motorcycle or
Yeah,
something
so
like that. It's very, very expensive, but mostly because nowadays our smartphones, they are like a computer. We can do anything in the smartphone, and if we stop to think, most of the things that we did need a computer to do, nowadays we can do in a smartphone. Most of the things, we can read the mails, you can use the calendar, you can access the internet, talk to your friends. Like when we have MSN back there, we have Orkut back there, we did needed to use a computer to access the internet. And when we were out of the computer, we were inaccessible online. So that was nice because we could rest our mind a little bit more, but it's always been very expensive. And you, Fernando?
Well, I am 34. I was born in 89, in the end of 89. So I'm basically a child from the 90s. Yeah, 90s. And I had like a television and a video game and a computer, but not at the same time of my friends. All of my friends had the stuff and I didn't. And then later I had it little by little. And like when I was 8, that I earned my first television, my own, more or less, and my video game, and I really enjoy it. But I had like rules to use it, not all the time. And then came the computer and the internet, late night, late at night, and yeah, I think my generation was changing with the technology, which is crazy. By the way, you mentioned that smartphones nowadays are basically the computers, but and I remember something that when it comes to something important, I have to do on in my computer, not in the cell phone. I don't know how to deal like a important email or something like that. I don't know about you guys if it's the same, but
I
maybe
totally
it's a
agree.
yeah, maybe it is something about our generation. Um, so yeah, it's but I feel kind of blessed for being of this generation because of that, because I've seen the changing happening, and that's crazy. So it's different now to see artificial intelligence improving like this, and all the things that are happening. Yeah, that's it. It's crazy.
There's so many things. First of all, in my case, even if I can do, it's totally possible to solve something in the cell phone. If it's very serious, I have to open the computer and do it. I don't know. It feels more like, okay, now I'm serious. I'm seated here on the chair and I'm focused. Because when we are on our cell phones, we're doing anything. So we're watching TV, we're laying the bed, we're sitting on the computer, we're like on the streets. So I guess, at least for me, I don't feel that I'm focused on the phone. And the second part about the generation, I think that our generation, like different from the next, I don't know, the teenagers today, it's we are seeing a lot of big changes because for them they were born like there was the technology was there. So we've seen a lot of big changes for us and our fathers and mothers. Also, they have seen big differences. So that's very nice. I was just thinking, Warley is 24, you're from 2000.
I'm 24, but I'm from I don't know how can I say in English, but 99, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so you didn't have your birthday yet, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
this year.
It's in July, July 14th.
Okay. So I'm from 1997 and I'm 26. I'm turning 27 this year also on May. And in my case, I earned a cell phone like when I was 13. I guess it's a bit old for my generation, I guess, but I've always had contact with video games. I always loved video games till today. So these video games and computer games were my thing. I didn't care a lot about cell phones and stuff. And you, Warley?
Oh, despite currently working with technology, I wasn't a technological child. I was a analogical child. With video games, computers, cell phones, and something like that. because my family didn't have the financial condition to block me that things. So it took me a while to get in touch with technology in general. But currently, I think I don't have to how to go back. So I have computer, cell phone, video games too, and I love technology. So the, I really don't have to. I really don't have how to go back.
Yeah. But do you feel like you have a video game, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were realizing one of your dreams or having something that your child self didn't have? How does it feel for you to have these things now that you didn't have when you were a child?
Yeah, I think so. My first video game, a good video game, I bought last year. So I didn't have the condition to do that earlier when I was a child. So I think so. I think it's kind of a dream thing.
Very nice. That's very nice. So let's move on, guys. Number 5. Do you think that there should be restrictions on children's access to technology? Fernando, that you are already a father, you can you can say things about that.
Uh, I don't think restrictions, but balance. Balance is important. But restrictions, I think, is kind of impossible nowadays, or it's not good because you might prevent them to uh, get to know what is going on and get used to it. So I think it's important uh, allow, but with balance. Everything with balance and at the right time, the things. I don't know. It depends on the child. It depends on the age. It depends on the maturity. So, but restriction, I don't believe.
Yeah, but full restriction is very, very difficult, and I don't even know if it's healthy depending on the age, like you said. But balanced restriction like that, right?
Yeah, balance, meaning you cannot let the child with the cell phone 24/7. You cannot allow the child to have social media without uh, you checking it, what's going on. So with balance, with um, because I don't know the word even in Portuguese that I'm trying to find. But yeah, in that sense.
How was the introduction of technology in your son's life when he was a child?
Well, it wasn't good. It wasn't very nice. Uh, and we had a problem because uh, we have like two families with totally different approaches, and it was very complicated in the early ages of my son. Now it's okay. We came to an agreement about everything. Now it's fine. But it was very difficult, and he had access very early, and he got addiction to it very early with tablets and cell phones, and so it was not easy. And then it's even more difficult to balance when the first contact is like this. You have full access to those things, so it was very difficult.
It's very complicated because raising a child isn't only the parents' task to do. It involves the whole family. And if the whole family doesn't respect what the parents want, it's complicated and disrespectful, because the mother and the father, you knew what you wanted for your child, and the family, it's very hard in every family, in every family, but it's important to respect, and because it's a child. So even though you think that, okay, I raised a lot of kids, I know what I'm doing. Mostly the grandmas and grandpas, they used to say that, but it's important to respect the parents' desire.
I don't know if I mentioned this story with you about him, or you are just guessing because you guessed right in the point. Because it was because of that I was saying that we're two families raising him, and not just saying about me and his mother, because we were in a agreement about a lot of things, but the families were not, and we were kind of counting with them because we were so young and had a lot of things going on, so it was a mess, but it worked out fine in the end.
He's fine today.
Yeah.
That's the important. And you, Monique?
I think it's important to have some limits, because internet can be so dangerous about pornography or some types of crimes, and there are so bad people, and you have to be careful about this. My mother was very careful about this, and that time I didn't understand, but now I know what she was talking about, and I think you have to put limits. For example, for the time that the kid will use the cell phone, for example, or tablets, to don't be addicted. I think that that's so it's not easy. Fernando know about that. I think it's not easy because everyone is using technology, and we use technology for everything nowadays. It's a challenging time, but I think you have to think different ways to maybe distract our children if it was possible, of course.
Yeah, that's very important. The things that you said, if it's possible, because when it comes to the subject, I always think a lot of things that I would do if I had a child, and like the access of internet, how would I introduce some things to my kid to play and have fun, and not be in front of a screen like I am all the time. But when it comes to reality, it's very different. It's very, very different, because raising a child, it's a full-time job for years. For years. It depends for you about anything. So it's very hard, because you get tired, you get angry, you get sleepy. And when it comes to these things, you want to do anything just to your child to chill and let you rest a little bit, because you haven't been sleeping for days. So that's very difficult. And I always think it's a full-time job. It's very complicated. That's why I don't know if I do want to have kids, because it's full commitment. If I want to raise a kid, like, I think that it would be the right thing. But of course, there's a lot of different opinions and ways to raise a child. I'm not a mother. I don't know nothing about it, but I have some idea of what I think it's right or wrong about raising a kid. Warley, what are your thoughts about this?
Oh, in my opinion, I believe there should be restriction to children's access to technology. Uh, I know that technology has a lot of benefits, offers many benefits. It's so good too, but there is a lot of problems with technology, with the internet, with social medias. So mainly in the early ages, I think it's so important to be restrictions about the use.
Yeah, in the early ages, there are a lot of studies that technology compromises a lot the way that I forgot the exact words, but like how the kid learns to think and how the kid learns to develop their own thoughts and their own critical sense about the little stuff in life because when you're in front of a screen, you're not reacting to the world. You're just still and watching something to happen. So you're not interacting with the outside world. And for kids that they don't know nothing about life. They don't know how to speak, how to ask for something they want. They don't know nothing. They're learning everything. So it's very important to be out there and learning the ways to do stuff. So the early ages, they are the most critical about the access to technology.
Sure.
Introducing the topic, what is the impact of technology in children's development, Monique? I guess it brings something like what I just said, but what else do you think?
I think that technology can change the way the children are seeing the world, or maybe um, we can have some emotional problems, psychological problems, about bullying, and another other stuff that we already had offline, but online is worse, because um, a lot of people thinks that online can do anything, everything, and we have to be careful about this. So I think technology can help the children with some programs to learn some letters, for example, colors, some music that are available online. But we have to be careful about the bad side.
Yeah, and just like there are mean adults, there are mean kids. So kids, they usually have less filter to say things to other people in person. And on the internet, it's like the adults, it's even worse because they feel more comfortable to insult other people, other kids, their friends from school, and say bad things, and they don't even feel bad about that. And kids and teenagers and early early kids, they are much more vulnerable about those things because they are learning everything, they're understanding their own world. So when somebody says bad things about them, they tend to believe, and they tend to develop depression, they tend to develop like I forgot the name.
Anxiety.
No, like it's related to a problem related to food, like I forgot even in Portuguese. Distúrbio. Distúrbio alimentar, some things like that. If the kid is too fat or too skinny or something, even it's outside of the pattern, something like that. So it's very complicated. And you, Fernando?
Everything that you've said, and also some kind of confusion about what is real, what is
Yeah,
the internet, what is not real. It's it's difficult for us to see that difference, and to kids it's way more difficult because they are in this development phase, so the confusion is bigger, and also anxiety as well, the same things that hit us as adults, but
yeah,
with them it's bigger because they are in this phase of development. So as you said, it's yeah, I don't know how to say in other ways, but it hit them in that way.
yeah. That's it. Warley.
In my opinion, the impact is multifaceted. In one hand, it can improve their learning, creativity, and it's positive, not in the early ages, I guess. But in the other hand, I think excessive screen time and a lot of use of technology can lead to sedentary habits, social isolation, and I think it's a lot of problems. See, it's so complicated to live with that.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
Good point.
Um,
With this social isolation, it happens, and they even don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I was thinking related to anxiety as well. They develop this sense of rushness. Everything have to be so fast because they are
Yeah.
doing everything so fast. Scrolling and listen to audio in a fast velocity. Everything that we do, uh, but with kids.
yeah, but we know how the world flows in the normal pace. But the kids, they're raising in this pace that it's too fast all the time, so much information. You're gonna hear a voice message like 2.0, and you have a lot of videos, like 15-second videos scrolling all the time. You have too many options about everything live. So it's good for some point, like having options, but when you have too many options about stuff in general, it's kind of bad because too much information is very confusing. And like what Fernando was saying, like you can't even realize what's real or what's not real, because it's hard for us adults that we know we have our mind, um we know the things, we have our own critical sense about stuff in the world, and kids, they don't know. So if they have too many information about everything in life, they kind of lose sense of life and everything, and they lose sense about their own identity. So that's the most terrible part. They get confusing about themselves. So that's it.
They get tired.
Yeah, a lot. So question number 7, I really like this question in general. Warley, what would you do differently from your parents when raising a child?
Uh, I think I would encourage open communication. Uh, I think it's so important, and in general, I think this is lacking in the last generation. So I think the main point is about open communication.
And you, Monique?
Uh, I agree with Warley. I think when I was a child, my parents didn't talk to me uh, even about important things that it was important to talk about sexuality or something like that. But I think my mom that was the responsible to make the decisions. My mom was so I don't know the word, but um, I don't know. Rígida. How can I say in English?
Strict.
Strict. She was very strict. I understand her, but for me it was not okay. And when I was 18, for example, I had my first boyfriend, and I was not allowed to go to the cinema with my boyfriend because for my mom it was so dangerous. So I want to be a different mom if I have a child. I understand her, and but I think something can be different. I want to be an open mom that um, have important conversations, that be there to talk with what are happening in the school or in the kids' life. And I want to be different.
Yeah, I have that. I think that people who have parents who talk to them while growing up has such a privilege because in our age, most of the parents they don't talk to us like important stuff in life. They don't talk to us about our feelings, their own feelings, and it's very important for a child to express and to know how to process emotions because today there's that a lot of adults who doesn't know to process the emotions and they have so many problems that could be uh, solved in so many easy ways, but it wasn't. So a little few people have had the privilege to grow up with a family who did talk, who did like to have a serious conversation about everything that was needed and like it's not like a one-time conversation. Never. It's like a whole process. Like I said, a child demands a lot. It's you are responsible for a part of the character that a whole new person is building. You are responsible for a new life. So that's very difficult. Monique, I also had a very, very, very strict mother. And my mother, she liked to control a lot. I have two older sisters, and till today, I'm the youngest sister. I'm gonna turn 27 till today. My mother, she has the uh she she feels the need that to control her daughter's life, like she thinks that she's protecting and taking care. I don't know, the way that she expresses her love is like, okay, I'm gonna decide everything in your life for you, and that's very, it makes no sense, and it's terrible for us, it's terrible for her, and that's something that I would sure do differently because it's terrible for kids. Fernando, what did you do differently? And would you do something different if you had other kids from the behaviors from your first kid?
Well, as you, my mother is very uh, like this. She wants to control everything. So this is something that I don't think is a good idea. You have to give choices. You know, we have to learn since we were kids to to make our own choices. And I think this is important. And I agree with you about conversation. I think conversation is the main point. I think is the problem of the past generation that they didn't use to talk, and I think it's very important. I talk to my son every single day, and we talked about everything, absolutely everything, to from feelings to sensitive topics like I don't know, politics and sexuality and uh, everything, absolutely everything. And I think that's good. I feel that he knows he can count on me to everything. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if I would do, no, I probably would do a lot of things different, but I don't know exactly what, because it's like a roller coaster.
It
Um,
is.
Theoretically, it's like we think as you were saying, we think like that. Oh, it's not good. Screens is not good to allow this or that. But in practical terms, it's like the world turns upside down, and so it's I really don't know what I would do different. But of course, I would do, especially if I could raise him with the his mother, or like we were together, or in other scenario, because it's very, very difficult to raise a child when you are apart uh, from the mother. Uh, but yeah, that's it.
And the experience is also very different because you had a child when you were young, very, very young. So if you want more kids and it's gonna be, I don't know, a few years from now, it's a whole new person. It's a whole new Fernando thinking whole new different stuff.
Yeah, I will not freak out like I did.
Yeah, but you had the you could freak out because it's very crazy having kids, especially. I don't know, it's something very important. It's such a big deal.
In another time.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Another time. So, what is unnegotiable for you when raising a child, Fernando? Raising your son, what was unnegotiable for you? Like, for example, his grandparents, they interfered in the technology access, for example. But I guess maybe you and his mother had to deal with that because you couldn't control everything. But was there something that it was unnegotiable? Like if the family were against, you would have a big fight and something like that. That okay, it's this way and nothing else.
Yeah, that's difficult. That's very
Yeah.
difficult. I don't have an answer now. You can go first.
Oh. I don't always have the answers for my questions. I like to hear you talk because, yeah, sometimes I bring difficult questions that requires a lot of thinking. But in my life, not only for a child, there's something that bothers me a lot, that is lies. It bothers me a lot. I get very, very mad with that because it doesn't matter the size of the lie, if it's a white lie, something like that, because it says a lot about the person, and depending on the frequency that the person lies and depending the tone of the lie, it says a lot if I can trust the person about not only such huge important things but small things that, for example, My sister had a boyfriend that he liked to lie about little stuff, but he lied all the time. It was like just little stuff. Nobody cared if it was a lie or it was true, but he was lying all the time, like all day, a lot of lies. And that bothered me a lot and still does. So I always prefer to have the harsh reality than a lie. Or if you don't want to tell something or lie, you just be quiet. You don't have to speak up everything. There are things that they don't have to be said. Not everything has to be said. So for me, if I would raise a child, for me, that's something unnegotiable. Like every kid lies, it's normal. But right in the beginning, I would get to talk a lot about that and try to cut this behavior, something like that. Um, let's see you, Warley.
Uh, I think the main points it's about how to live in society. I think there's a lot of points important on that. So I think that's a core values such as empathy and respect the others. So I think it's so important in these days to interact with the world. So I think for a child and in they're developing, so it's important.
Very nice. That's something very important that I consider as well, like respecting other, but teaching children how to not make jokes or make fun uh, from a person. Like you don't have to look like you're funny because you're mocking someone. That's terrible. A lot of people do that, especially at work. People like to do that, like mock someone to be seen as a funny person. Like, oh, this person makes funny jokes all the time, but it's always like it's confronting someone is always like it's insulting someone, and it's also something that bothers me a lot. Monique, Fernando, you're gonna be the last because you will have time to think and answer me.
I think it's important to raise a child, giving her the child space, to be independent, and also to know how to do the things, including at home. Do the bed, wash the dishes, and small things that are important to learn when including when you as a child, because I think maybe I will be a better adult if I learned much about this. I was created like a independent girl, but for some things, not for everything. So I want to see children more independent, and that could make something alone without adults. Of course, that are things that child can do, not some big deals.
Yeah. I guess we've lived the similar experiences in the point where you said that you were raised to be independent, but just in a few things. And on the other side, you were dependent, but you could do that alone, but you were raised like you couldn't because your mother was very strict. So you were dependent of her to do things that today it's kind of a bother to do because you didn't learn back there to do it yourself. Although you can do today, but it's like harder to do. At least for me, I guess for you, maybe it should be similar. Other thing that you said, like giving the space for the kid, that's very important because we as adults, it's very important to have space for ourselves alone. And for kids, it's the same. Always like depending on, of how old is the child, but always giving them space to think alone and to learn how to be alone and to learn how is it to feel that you are alone, so you don't need all the time everybody around you. You have to know how to spend company with yourself. But it's good. If you don't want, that's okay. But if you want, that's okay as well. It's not a bad thing to be alone. It's not a bad thing to do things by yourself, to don't have people around you all the time, like, oh, are you okay? Oh, do you want this? Oh, do you want that? Oh, because that's exhausting. The kids, they need to learn how to think and to think what they want. Because if you give options all the time, they don't stop to think if they really want that. Maybe they just accept without wanting something. Fernando, did you come to an answer?
Yeah. Yeah, which is basically your answer, because summarizing up everything that you've said, it's all about respect, and I think that's something unnegotiable for me as well. The respect, teaching the kid to respect people, and also that people respect the kid. And an example, for example, I don't like that when somebody comes to your house and somebody says to the kid, go there and give a hug in your hand, and things like that, that you are obligating the kid to do things that maybe the kid doesn't want. So it's not good, it's not healthy, because the kid will grow up without this sense of that the person is the owner of their own wills, and that's very dangerous. So I believe that I can sum up everything in this word: respecting. And also it's part.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's a part of that too. Not decide everything from for the kid. For example, I think it's good to give choices for the kid. Do you want that, or you put the boundaries, but let the kid make choices as well, because they will learn how to make choices, and not just to acolher, I don't know how to say, the choices that other people are giving. Monique?
Oh, I'm sorry. I stopped you. I was remember that my dad even today, he's always send me a message like, you have to talk with your aunt because it's her birthday. You have to call your grandma because da, 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 you know. Oh, I got too angry about that.
Yeah, that's very boring, because there are some relatives that we don't have intimacy and we have no reason, I don't know, just to call, and it's kind of awkward because you don't have anything to say, you don't have any subject in common. So it's awkward. And just complementing what you said, Fernando, it's a great point. The example you gave was like hugging someone, or a lot of people tend to ask kisses for the kids, and kids, they don't feel, as we don't feel comfortable to get physical touch with anybody. So it's important to respect the space, because it doesn't make sense to put the kid in an uncomfortable situation just for someone, or even you, to feel good about something. It doesn't make sense. the same way we have to learn the kid how to respect the others, it's very important for us to respect the kids because they don't know how to explain what they wanted and they don't want. We are the adults. We have to be open and we have to learn the signs that the kids they give for us. So it's like space and respect the same way. So guys, we have 2 more questions, but unfortunately we don't have time. It was a great conversation, I loved. And I'm going to send the survey link here. You know the drills, please rate the immersion. And I'd like to thank you all, Monique, Warley, and Fernando, because I had a great time with you. I hope you had fun as well. And please give me suggestions for topics because it gets to a point that it's very difficult to create a lot of topics every week. So I love suggestions. And have a nice end of the week, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you
It was a
guys. Take care.
pleasure. Bye bye.